Hey there. Have you ever wondered how plants, animals, water, and the very soil beneath our feet all work together to keep our world spinning? Well, welcome to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today we're unpacking the ultimate puzzle of nature. Think of this as the ultimate map of life on Earth, from the tallest trees to the tiniest mushrooms, and even the sunlight and dirt. Everything is part of one giant living engine. Today, we're going to map out exactly how these ecosystems are built and how they work. We'll discover how every single leaf, drop of water, and crawling insect plays a totally vital role. Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to construct our knowledge today using 5 main building blocks. 1, what is an ecosystem? 2, the structural blocks. 3, meet the functional blocks. 4, energy flow and matter. And 5, why is it a system? Starting off with block number 1. What exactly is an ecosystem? Let's lay the foundation for everything we're about to build today. So, what are we actually talking about here? An ecosystem is basically a community of living organisms interacting with their non-living environment. It's not just the animals roaming around, and it's not just the forest they live in. It's about how they constantly interact with each other. Imagine a bird drinking from a cool stream, or a giant oak tree absorbing sunlight through its leaves. The absolute crucial point here is that energy flows through the ecosystem, kind of like a rushing river, while materials cycle within it, constantly being reused between the living and non-living parts. Now, what's really fascinating is realizing where these ecosystems actually are. They aren't just out in the distant, untouched wild. I mean, sure, you have massive forests, vast oceans, and sweeping grasslands or deserts, but you also have small ponds teeming with frogs and lily pads, and even the local city park right down your street, where pigeons hunt for crumbs in the grass. Literally anywhere living things are interacting with their physical environment, you've got a functioning ecosystem. Moving on to block number 2, the structural blocks. We know where they are, but what are they actually made of? We can divide any ecosystem perfectly in half. On one side, we have the biotic component, or biosynosis. Think of the prefix bio, which just means life. Picture a bustling forest. The trees reaching for the sky, the deer quietly stepping through the brush, the mushrooms growing on a fallen log, and even the microscopic bacteria hiding in the dirt. These are all living organisms. On the flip side, we have the abiotic component, or biotope. Abiotic simply means non-living. These are the physical conditions and materials the living things desperately need to survive, like the warm sunlight, the temperature of the air, the fresh water, the rocks, the minerals, and the soil beneath it all. So when we put this all together, it builds into nature's ultimate math formula. It's pretty simple, really. Ecosystem equals biotope plus biosynosis. Non-living conditions plus living organisms. These two halves perfectly combine to create a whole, complete ecosystem where all parts are closely connected. The plants need the soil to grow, the animals need the plants to eat, and the entire community relies on the sun and rain. All right, let's hit block number 3. Meet the functional blocks. Now, what's really cool about this next part is that we aren't just looking at what things are anymore. We're looking at the active jobs they perform out in the environment. Everyone in nature has a specific job. First up, the producers, also known as autotrophs. Think of producers as the master chefs of the ecosystem. They're the foundation of everything because they actually make their own organic food from inorganic substances, relying on the sun as their main energy source. We're talking about towering trees, soft grasses, and even tiny algae floating in the ocean. Then on the other side, you have the consumers, or heterotrophs. These are organisms that simply can't make their own food, so they have to get their energy by eating other organisms. Now, these consumers are organized into clear tiers, basically a ladder of who eats whom. At the bottom, we have primary consumers, which are your herbivores. Picture a hungry rabbit nibbling on some fresh clover, or a deer grazing in a meadow. Step up a level, and you find secondary consumers. These are your carnivores, like a clever fox sneaking through the grass to catch that rabbit, or a snake hunting for mice. And at the very top, we have tertiary consumers, or powerful top predators like wolves roaming the woods or majestic eagles soaring way up above. But wait, the cycle doesn't just end with the top predators. Meet the final functional block, the decomposers, or saprotrophs. Think of them as nature's ultimate cleanup crew. Organisms like fungi, bacteria, and earthworms have the incredibly important job of recycling. They break down dead organic matter, like fallen leaves or a tree that's crashed to the ground, into simple substances. They return vital nutrients and minerals straight back to the dirt and water, prepping the soil so new plants can use them all over again. Block number 4, energy flow and matter. Now that we've met the whole crew, let's watch them go to work and see how these functional blocks actually interact, like an engine in constant motion. Notice how energy in an ecosystem flows in just one single direction. Step 1, it all starts with the sun, beating down on the earth. Step 2, producers, like a wide field of grass, capture that solar energy and turn it into food. Step 3, a rabbit, our primary consumer, comes along and eats the grass. Step 4, a fox, the secondary consumer, catches and eats the rabbit. And finally, step 5, when that fox eventually passes away, the decomposers go to work, breaking down whatever is left over. But here is a wildly surprising scientific fact that you really need to remember. Only about 10% of energy is actually passed to the next level. No way, right? Just 10%. Imagine a plant creates 100 energy coins from the sun. The rabbit that eats it only gets 10 of those coins. And the fox that eats the rabbit, it gets a measly 1 coin. At each level, most of the energy is used up by the organism just trying to live, move around, stay warm, and grow. So, as you move higher and higher up the food chain, the available energy shrinks dramatically. But while energy flows in a straight line until it runs out, matter behaves entirely differently. Remember this, matter, or nutrients, moves in a cycle. Minerals return to the soil via those hardworking decomposers we talked about, only to be absorbed right back up by the roots of new plants, in a continuous, beautiful loop that never stops. Energy is a one-way street, but matter is a perfect circle. And that brings us to our final block, number 5. Why is it a system? We've talked about the structural blocks, the functional jobs, the energy, and the matter. But let's bring it all together to understand why scientists specifically use the word system. We call it an ecosystem because all these parts are profoundly connected and interdependent. It works as one entire whole. If one single species disappears or changes, maybe a severe drought takes out the grass or an illness removes the top predator, the entire system is affected. A healthy ecosystem naturally maintains a very careful balance and supports a massive variety of life, but it absolutely relies on every single piece doing its job exactly right. Which brings up a really serious question. What actually happens to the balance if we remove just one block? Think about it. If we pollute the water, an abiotic factor, the fish might disappear. If the fish disappear, the birds that eat them go hungry and have to leave the area. The plants the fish used to eat might overgrow and choke out the pond. It's a fragile, deeply connected web, and understanding this shows exactly why human actions matter so much to the world around us. And that right there is the biggest takeaway from our explainer today. Living things plus non-living things equals life on Earth. A healthy ecosystem means a healthy planet and a better future for absolutely everyone. We all have a role to play as caretakers of nature. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you step into a city park, a forest, or even just your own backyard, what hidden connections will you be able to spot? Thanks for learning with me today, and keep exploring,